everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Delirium. Delirium negative Mega Satan. Dude, Kane, just the negative? Let's not... Anytime you got something on the cusp of being tipped over, you do it. P-E-A-E. I have a pen. I have an egg. Egg pen. I have an egg. I have an apple egg. Let's not, we don't. So I shouldn't have even gone as far as I did. But if there's one thing you need to know about NL, I will never miss an opportunity to embarrass myself to make a point. I don't know what point I'm making here. I think the point is that I'm dumb. But we're back. How are you doing? It's me, Northernlion, here with a post-weekend anecdotal The Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus episode. How was your weekend, NL? Thank you for asking. If you really want to know, you should watch the Monday, October 22nd, 2018 edition of the Northernlion Live Super Show. The show is not aired yet, but I imagine we will talk in greater length because that's kind of, you know, what those are about. It was a relatively nonchalant weekend. On Saturday, I voted in Vancouver's municipal election. Not very exciting for anybody who doesn't live here. I don't know what I'm thinking this is going to do for me, but hold on. Don't let it get you down. You got a free penny there. Think of all the things you could buy with that if we lived in the medieval era. Do they even have pennies in the medieval era? I don't know when the modern currency system came into place. I get it's different from country to country, obviously, but like, you know, I don't know when England moved to a pence and pound sort of setup. I honestly don't even know if that's the setup they use. Which is pretty shameful because, you know, I've been there. But in my defense, when I was there, it was an earlier time. It was a different era where the GBP was so strong, I tried to spend as little money as possible because, you know, buying a sandwich was like $14 Canadian. And that's from Wotherspoons! Anyway. That one's for all my UK friends. Regardless, I voted in the Vancouver municipal election. Took a long time. It's your democratic right and nay, perhaps even responsibility. The mayoral election was decided by less than 1,000 votes with a turnout of over 100,000 people, which is a pretty thin margin of error. So, you know, just goes to show you. Sometimes, I mean, if you didn't vote for one of the top two people, and there were like, you know, I think maybe 23 mayoral candidates and then like 90-something for city council. So, like, I know that, you know, it's funny when you hear, and most of you are probably American if you're watching this. I was destined to take damage there. They both shot at the same time, and I couldn't parse them coming in anyway. But, you know, in America, they rightfully, I think, get annoyed by having a two-party system. You know, it's, I understand the annoyance there. What if you don't like either candidate? Well, the conventional wisdom is you either vote for the candidate you hate the least, or, you know, you vote for a third-party candidate and then people yell at you because they say you wasted your vote, which is kind of unfair, but also, you know, from a game theory perspective, maybe at least has some validity, but, you know, it's your vote, basically, so I'm not going to get on your case. Either way, we got, like, the opposite thing going on, at least on the local level here. People are mad. They're like, we should make it harder to run for office. Because we, literally, to run for Vancouver mayor, I believe you had to have 25 signatures and give, oh, thank you. 25 signatures and then give a deposit of $150. Now, I'm not saying, you know, it's like Steam Greenlight. You know, I'm not saying it should be $300,000 to run for mayor. First off, it is a deposit, but still, I don't know. 25 signatures and $150. I know, you know, if you want to be as optimistic as possible, you're like, you know what that means is that, you know, somebody that's, you know, underemployed or a little impoverished, they can run for office. What it ends up with is a lot of people run as a lark. And, you know, I mean, one dude who ran had a Hitler mustache, okay? That tells you everything you need to know. No serious politician in the year 2018 is given their headshot with a Hitler mustache. It's just brazen. Regardless, though, the election is over. It was my pleasure to participate. When I was at the polling station, I was unable to take a photo of my ballot. There were many signs that said if you take a photo of your ballot, it invalidates it. And I was like, okay, I will not do that. I will not do the Paris Hilton. However, that ballot was long. It was like from my elbow to the tip of my middle finger. We're ready. 46%. And I did my research, and even then when I walked... Like, let me put it this way. I had a midterm on Friday, and the midterm was easier than voting. Just because of the size of the ballot. And on Sunday, I finally finished Bully. The game that... and I mean... The Isaac episodes is where we get, like, non-satirical. So... I'll tell you straight up, I did not really enjoy Bully, but I did enjoy not enjoying it, if that makes sense. And I respect it for when it came out. It's like watching an old movie. I understand, you know, a game that came out in 2006 isn't that old. But, you know, it's dated, and having not played it around the time of its contemporary release, I have no nostalgic feelings at all towards it. So I think I saw the negative more than the positive, and if anything, it made me appreciate how far games have come, but... I am happy that's over. So we're going to the negative path. I think we'll just keep Guppy's head. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with where we're at here. And then, I'm sorry to say, I relapsed into playing some Paper Magic. Paperback Magic. Dear sir, madam, do you tap your lands up? Tap a mountain island, play a fire chain. Okay. That actually works off the top of the dome piece, but, you know, it's never going to sustain itself. Let's just quit while we're ahead. I drafted Magic Guilds of Ravnica in person, went 1 and 2, which is basically an A+ performance by my standards, and... Dude, it was like the perfect place to play Magic, too. We used to... And Kate still does play at a local game store that's, like, very serious. Where people will, you know, after you open a pack, they're going to be like, you know, hey, are you just going to donate those basic lands? I'll take them, flip them for 15 cents each. And I'm like, all right, dude, go ahead. You know, and then the frustrating part is they use that accumulated 15 cents over and over and over to buy 4 Gideons and then eventually school me in, you know, Standard Showdown. But either way, this place was like casual, people of all ages... well-adjusted individuals, and we were tucked away in the back of a local board game store, like the trolls that we are. It's perfect. I want that level of privacy when I'm engaged in a shameful thing like playing Paper Magic. But anyway, that was my weekend. It's good, dude. I'm getting ready for TwitchCon. I've said it once, I'll say it again. This video will probably go up on Saturday, which means what I'm about to say is literally useless, but just in case I'm wrong, if you're in the NorCal area, or well, I don't know what, if you're in the Bay Area, it's probably a better way to describe it, and you have tickets to TwitchCon, come to my meet and greet on Friday. Oh, we definitely want Sackboy. Friday, October 26th, I think. From 4 to 5:30 p.m., but I'll stay as long as I have to, which might mean I'm leaving at 4:45, depending on the amount of people in line. But come to my meet and greet. I will sign something for you as if my signature is worth anything. We will take a photo that probably will sit on your phone forever until you replace it and then go, whatever happened to that photo? Oh, that's right, it was on that phone that okay, but, you know, it's a keepsake nonetheless, I understand. I'll be there. It's the first time I've ever done anything, like this. I'm not anxious at all, actually. I think a couple of years ago I would have been anxious about it. It's like, I gotta make, you know, small talk with strangers and, you know... So the weird thing about doing this job is that, you know, a lot of people sort of got into YouTube and Twitch because they... I don't want to say because they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Because I don't want to use the word like outcast, but you know, I had a lot of time by myself alone in my room, basically, you know, just due to circumstance. Thank you so much. It wasn't like I was unpopular or anything. I was actually like really popular. Like everybody liked me and I was their best friends, but like I had all this free time and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, I guess I'll just talk to the internet. And then the unthinkable happened and people were like, hey, we like listening to you talk from time to time, even if your gameplay is terrible. And now they want to like come talk to me and I gotta be the guy who drives the conversation. So I got some, you know, you just learn to be normal, I guess. After a while, you know, please stop this. This is insane. You learn to ask the requisite con questions. Like, for example, hey, how's your con going so far? Now, because I have a Friday slot, it's not really a good question. Because I don't know, unless you came to the TwitchCon Convention Center at like 9 a.m. Friday morning, I will be hit. There is no chance on that one. I guess I could have placed a bomb, blocked off these dudes, and then gotten out of the way. But this run is still good, by the way. And it's one item away from becoming Guppy, so it's like borderline really good, but there was no chance there. You know, that one's not going to work. So I'll be like, instead you got to ask where are you from, but not in a strange way, and you got to be careful. Like, for example, don't say, hey, do you live nearby? That sounds like it's a little bit over the line. Hey, are you local? And you go, then they go, nah, I just flew in because I really like Ninja, but like, you know, I've heard of you, so I got in line. And I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. You know what's weird is that I have been to, I've been to a lot of conventions, even though I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm over them, but it's not necessarily 100% my scene anymore. If it's your scene, more power to you, and I mean that sincerely. But I've seen like these Twitch meet and greets and like YouTuber meet and greets before, and they always do like, it's a weird, I wouldn't say popularity contest, but it highlights the feast or famine nature of popularity online. And I'm not trying to say that that's unfair, but you know, sometimes you'll look and there'll be like one super popular YouTuber or streamer, and they'll have like, you know, I don't know, 100 people in line, 150 if you count the chaperones, and then, you know, there's somebody next to them that I know who they are, and people obviously know who they are, because, you know, if you want to make a living in this business, people have got to know who you are. Yeah, give me that strength card just in case. And I'll pop it right now. But, like, there's nobody in line. And I always wondered, you know, at first you think that people would feel bad if, you know, let's say you're sitting next to Markiplier, for example. Markiplier's got a non-stop line, and you've got, you know, 6 people in line. Thank you. Or nobody in line, which is what we see a lot of the time. A lot of content creators just, like, sitting on their phone waiting for somebody to line up. Would you rather be Markiplier, or would you rather be me sitting there? I don't know, because, you know, for a while I was like, you know, you'd probably rather be Markiplier, because it means, like, look at all these people who like you. But on the other hand, you know what I do with some of my free time is, like, I sit down and look at my phone. So, like, I'm not saying it's ideal, but maybe it's not all bad. Anyway, come see me at TwitchCon, or hopefully you did already, and then you're watching this episode before you go to the convention center. You're on public transit or something, and you're like, hey, I saw you yesterday. And that's weird, because yesterday for me was Sunday before the convention even started. Isn't it strange how time changes like that when you watch video content? Not really? Okay, well, I was trying. This run, I mean, with Mob the Void, we're in a very, very good position. We just have one. That was highly dumb. And actually, with Mob the Void having given us some Demon Hearts already, we're in an even better position, because now we've got a real great shot at a deal with the devil on the next floor. Like an almost guaranteed shot, if not literally guaranteed shot. So, well, we'll peep this real quick. Plus, we knocked that off the post-it note. So my thinking is that, you know, our Guppy odds are probably not high for the next floor, but they're high in general. High above me. They're so lovely. Whatever happened to that guy? I mean, I don't really like the song She's So High. I've told this story before, but I really like it. So I'm gonna tell it again, probably like once a month, every day until I die, basically. But I grew up with, you know, my like childhood best friend. His mom was a teacher, and she was kind of like, I'll just say it, okay? She was a hard ass. But it worked out really well for my friend. My friend got instilled with great work ethic and dedication, and, you know, was incredibly scholastically accomplished, and, you know, he's living his best life right now. But his mom, you know, she no nonsense kind of lady. And one time I was in his car, well, I was in her car, I should say, when I was like in 5th grade, getting driven back from his birthday party, and Tal Bachman's She's So High came on the radio, you know. She's so high, yeah, high above me. She's so lovely, and she's so high, yeah. That one. Like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, or Aphrodite. Tag yourself. I'm probably Aphrodite. Two of those people existed, by the way. No offense, Aphrodite. But anyway, I said, ugh, I hate this song. And she said, and I mean, this might be my 5th grade brain not parsing sarcasm, but she said, you know, if you say that one more time, I'm going to kick you out of the car. And I went, okay. And I didn't say it one more time because I thought she might have been serious. Now, I'm not, again, she probably wouldn't have actually kicked like a 10-year-old out of her car. My parents would have been pretty mad. And moreover, like, even if she wasn't afraid of my parents, like, you know, society would have been pretty mad. But either way, especially over something as, you know, mundane as not liking a Tal Bachman song. Sorry, the only Tal Bachman song. Moreover, I think if it ever, like, if I had died and that had gone to, like, a court of law and she had been found, like, negligent, the judge would have been like, you know, not only was it not okay to kick a 10-year-old out of your car because of his musical preferences, he wasn't even asking you to change the station or anything, but beyond that, he was right. Tal Bachman sucks. And that song is like, you know, it's just, it's very generic. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. But I wasn't going to test her. And you know what? It's her car. Hope she's doing okay. When I went over, the first time I ever went to my friend's house, that friend's house, because I had many, many, many friends, the best friends, bigly. I was 7, we were in 2nd grade. I remember it vividly. I had a stomach ache because I was like nervous. I was like, oh, I'm going to my friend's house for the first time. I gotta poop. Because the human body is really bad. And when I went there, he was like, hey, I'll be down in a second. I'm just vacuuming. And I was like, you're 7! And your mom's making you vacuum? That sucks. And now that I'm like, you know, nearly 30, I'm like, dude, he was 7 and his mom was making him vacuum? That owns. What a smart lady. She had a good head on her shoulders, preparing her son for the rigors of everyday life. Yo. Yo. Hey, thank you for the sun. The sun's a good kind. No, 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 don't blow up my judgments. Okay, you can blow that one up, just not this one. Nah, 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 nah. Joker? 2 of clubs, okay. I don't really care about doing boss rush. I just want to remember to get the negative on the next floor. Please, my friend. I have given you like 70 HP. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but still. En sus. Can use that on the next floor. Dude, we're closer to spun. Okay. I could go to the shop. I should go to the shop. Hold on, though. I see that I have a message. Is it important? No. Well, it is and it isn't. It's related to today's NLSS. My internet is out. I might not be able to be on today. That's no pro... You know what? I'm going to break my own bad habit. I'm going to respond. Ah, that sucks. No problem, though. Hope it gets fixed And if you want to join later in the show, keep me posted. It's okay. And speaking of vacuuming, now we're gonna grab this. Not a secret room. The reason I want to go to the shop is not really to buy anything, but I'm realizing like the larger sort of like goal we have to worry about soon is going to be donating enough money to this donation machine. So I don't really care about having enough money to buy anything. Dude, the donation machine has been so ruthless lately. Like, it just will not take more than like 4 cents before it's done. Alright, so we may go to boss rush, we may not, we'll see. Curse of the Maze. Boss rush is not relevant. The most relevant thing, making sure you don't I've been a little bit better about it lately, but make sure you don't make the boneheaded decision to not take the right kind of Kodachrome Kodak filmography when you leave here. You know, in the same vein as like the video rental question, I have another one for you. I'm gonna ask 2 questions. Well, it's 1 question with a condition for the next question. How many people watching this have ever developed photography? And I don't mean like in school, I mean like have you ever taken a photo? Oh, that's a double tinted rock behind me, isn't it? My Isaac brain is so weird at this point. It's like I recognize that that rock looked strange, but I couldn't figure out specifically why. Anyway, 1 moment, because like the tinted rock is now lost to the sands of time thanks to the curse that we have. I don't really need it, but if we see it again, we'll be happy to have it. Obviously, you know, I was born in the late 1980s. I have had cameras with film, and I've had photos developed. And then I've had, particularly even when I was in like high school, you get those disposable cameras that take like 30 photos, then you just drop them off at Walmart, and like, you know, 2 hours later, they're like, your photos are ready. It sounds so quaint now, but at the time, you were like, oh my god. It only took them 2 hours to develop the photos. Moreover, if you want a very, like, 2000s era story, which could have happened at any point, but a story that, you know, shows you that you definitely did not go to high school in the 2010s, unless you lived in, like, I don't even know where. Pleasantville. I had an acquaintance in high school who worked at the grocery store photo lab. So sometimes he would be like, yeah, you know, people come in and they drop off their photos, and sometimes they're naked. And I was like, man, that's weird. At no point, by the way, because we were not in a John Hughes movie, did anybody go, sick. I mean, the internet was around by that point. Take the negative here. We were mostly like, gross. Also, who's dropping off their photos? Just get a digital camera. You can get a Nikon Coolpix. Get yourself a Gul'dan shower. Okay. Negative. Oh. So the prism is the best, but I'm going to level with you. I don't think we've had sensor. Maybe we have had sensor. But either way, I was either going to take sensor or breath of life, because I just want to knock things off the post-it note. And breath of life is an item we are rarely going to choose. Can show up in other capacities, but anyway. So the first question was, have you ever had photos developed in your life, not in a digital camera context? And then the other one was, when was the last time you had them developed? Now, again, if you're a photographer, just keep your mouth shut, okay? I apologize for my rudeness, but like, well, when I take photographs for, you know, Sean P. Diddy Combs on tour, we use high-grade film stock. Okay, congratulations, good for you. I mean, like a normal person. When was the last time you went to a Walmart or a Kroger and you had photos developed? There's still, at some of the drugstores, even in Vancouver, there's like a photo lab. Now, there's very rarely anybody standing at the desk in the photo lab. I assume you have to go up to the front and then go like, hey, I want some photos developed. And they go, hey, can you call Giles? Somebody page Giles, we got a live one. And then Giles shows up and, you know, he develops the photos for you. But I don't think I think maybe mine would be, it's like a 50% chance it was 99, 50% chance it was the year 2000. So I really thought I was fast enough to do that. So it's been a while. Dude, I know, well, I'm gonna spin this off into its own little version of a rant, okay? Because I'm like so pro technology, except the parts of it that are like obviously leading us to a cyberpunk dystopia where like all of our personal information is available for free on the internet because of the convenience that it gives us. But like the thing is, whenever people rail on like kids being on their cell phones or something like that, like there's no faster way to out you as somebody who has no critical thinking skills, in my opinion. So there might be people who are like, oh, it's a shame that all these photo labs are going away. Are you insane? Like, do you know what it was like? Sure, okay, like, here's the thing. I don't take selfies of myself. I don't care, you know, for the most part. It's not how I define my identity, but I'm also, like, I'm an adult man. You know? It's not really meant for me. Although, if you're into that sort of thing, again, who am I to judge, right? But even when I was a kid, I mean, there weren't selfies, but there were like my parents and grandparents and aunts, uncles, other family members. They were all taking dumb photos. It was just that it was such a novelty back then that people weren't cynical about it. They were like, here, you flip through a photo album, last year's Thanksgiving photos. Here's Aunt Jean sitting down doing nothing. And the photo kind of sucks. And you go, oh, there she is. I recognize her. That's Aunt Jean. So I'm extremely pro, digital photography, and take as many photos as you want. Like, there's one restaurant in Vancouver. It's called AFTERBIRTH. I have never been, but I have heard great things about the restaurant. I hear they have one of the best burgers in the city. They also have, if you want the most Vancouver-y story of all time, one of the best burger joints in the city, supposedly, 12 seats in the whole restaurant. Because it's Oatburger. Anyway, the owner of the restaurant, I can only assume that it's some kind of like producers-esque gimmick where he wanted to make a business that failed, but instead he's like, I just can't help making these amazing burgers. Because he gave an interview this weekend where he was like, yeah, so I've instituted, as of like a month ago, a no cell phones policy in my restaurant. Because I was working, and I was always tired of seeing people eating at my restaurant not talking to each other and being on their cell phone instead. So I made this no cell phone rule, and if you're on your cell phone at my restaurant, you get one warning, and then if the servers catch you on your cell phone again, they kick you out. And then he said, you wouldn't believe it, but the response has been overwhelmingly positive so far. And I'm like, you're right, I don't believe it. What I do believe is that the kind of morons who are like, yeah, I want to eat at a place that doesn't let me use my cell phone, basically would come to your restaurant and be like, this is such a good idea. I'm not saying they're all 100. I'm just saying that that's probably what they all sound like for reasons that may or may not be related to their age. Here's the thing, buddy. Do I get annoyed if I go out to eat with somebody and they're using their phone all the time? Like 25%? Maybe just like don't eat dinner with that person anymore. If you need a restaurant to tell you to pay attention to somebody, then, you got bigger problems, in my opinion. Secondarily, it's none of your business. Just make the burgers, burger man. It's just annoying. Like, hey, I'll have a cheeseburger, please. Oh, by the way, you can't use your phone in this restaurant because, like, the owner has some kind of weird compulsion about it. He also said something that made me very upset. He said, like, because of the no cell phones rule, I've had to turn up the music in the restaurant because of all the conversation. And I'm like, hey, he's phrasing it, I want to point out, he's phrasing it as a good thing. Not like he's frustrated that he has to turn up the music. But I'm more like, hey, moron, maybe keep the music down so I can hear the conversation with the person that I'm having, because, I want to talk to them anyway, but I also am not allowed to even look at my phone to see what friggin' time it is or how long my burger's taking to arrive. Just such a weird hill to die on. It's like, thanks for, running a small business in the food service industry is not hard enough. You know what would make it substantially harder is the most ubiquitous and helpful piece of technology invented in the past generation. It's not allowed because screw you, that's why. What do you care? There's another restaurant. I'll call you out. It's a great place. It's some of the best, like, It's like Korean food, but it's kind of izakaya style. If you want to, because I know somebody's gonna be like, hey, I know that's called anju. Yeah, I know, I live there. It's called anju. Anyway, and the restaurant's called Damso. They got a few locations in Vancouver. It's delicious. But when you go to the restaurant, at least one of the locations has a sign on the counter, and it says the Wi-Fi password is there is no free Wi-Fi. Talk to yourselves. Pretend it's 1995. Hey, how about you buy a router and let your patrons have free Wi-Fi? Because it's not 1995. It's 2018. It's like walking into a restaurant and it's like, oh, the special of the day, it's hardtack. Pretend it's the Civil War. No, I'd rather not. See, the thing, like, I don't even use free Wi-Fi most of the time. I have a generous data plan. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying. You know, if you just didn't put a sign up, and then people came up and were like, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? You could be like, oh, sorry, we don't have Wi-Fi here. But instead, you gotta be like, not only do we not have free Wi-Fi, it was a conscious decision, because the kids these days who frequent my restaurant and also, you know, pay my bills, and then tell their friends about it and share the photos of the place on social media so that it gets, you know, a wider presence online, and it's, just go ahead and freaking hit me, dude. I don't care. You know, they're always trying to use my data to look at their Instagrams and their Facebooks. Why do you care? Just serve the burgers, burger man. I get it, it's your establishment. I am voting with my wallet. I will not go to your establishment. I hear it's fantastic. It's you know, I don't even need to use my phone over the course of a dinner. It's just the fact that you feel the need to, like, dictate a very mundane element of human behavior inside of a place that you own, like some kind of sad little king. You know, it's Game of Thrones. Any man who says he's the king is not the king. Tywin Lannister, Peter Dinklage. It's just a very weird thing. And I can only imagine the kind of people who go to eat at that place willingly because they read that there's no cell phones allowed. It's the kind of, like, straight up, there's, I'm gonna bring it back to the Vancouver mayoral election. Like, things in the city are really bad from an affordability standpoint, and it was hard to figure out who I wanted to vote for, because 90% of the people that were running were like, hey, houses are way too expensive. We gotta fix it or everybody's gonna leave the city instead of, and, you know, it's gonna be dead in 30 years. So, on the one hand, you're like, you know, it's frustrating because everybody's got the same platform. On the other hand, it's also common sense, like, you've recognized the biggest problem in Vancouver right now, so, like, you're at least a little sane. But there were a couple of people that you're just like, there's no way I'm ever gonna vote for you. You live in a fantasy land. Like, one guy, his number one, it was a city councilor, not a mayoral election, but his number one thing on his, like, what I'll do if I'm elected was, like, I'm gonna make it illegal for garbage companies to pick up the trash after 4 p.m. on weekdays and never on weekends. So literally, like, he had, like, an essay that was like, the garbage trucks, can you believe the garbage trucks going down residential neighborhoods after 4 p.m.? And I'm like, dude, what world do you live? A house is over $1 million. And you think the number one problem is your garbage is being picked up? You're insane. It's the same as it's the hamburger dude all over again. It's probably like his uncle or something like that. It's like, you know what's a big problem in the city today? Oh, I don't know. Out of control opioid epidemic or something. No! It's the kids on their cell phones at my burger restaurant. Dude, if I'm paying 13 bucks for a cheeseburger at your establishment, I'm gonna use my phone. And if you kick me out, I mean, that's fine, because I wouldn't be there to begin with. Just a very weird thing. I don't care, as long as you're adhering to, you know, the basic rules of human decency. I don't really care what you do. If you're in my establishment. It is weird, though, how, like mobile phone use has been normalized. Remember when cell phones were relatively new in the early 2000s? If you would hear somebody, like, talking on the phone in public, especially if it was, like, in a restaurant, people would be like, oh, that's, like, the rudest thing you could ever do, talk on your phone in a restaurant. Now, 2018, people are talking on their phone at all times. And I don't think it's a bad thing, necessarily. I do think it's, well, I'll talk about that in a second, but, you know, this run's coming close to its conclusion, so I gotta pick and choose my anecdotes carefully here. but, you know, it's just, you know, in 2000, if you were, like, at a subway and somebody was talking on their cell phone, you would be in the right, socially, for being like, wow, screw that guy. Now, if you told that story to people, they would be like, mind your own business. He's not talking about you. Yeah, he's using his cell phone like a normal person. Are you out of your mind? I'm being sincere with you. I try my best to adhere to the norms of social convention. If I got a phone call and I was sitting in like a McDonald's restaurant, I would be way more freaked out if the dude I was sitting next to was like, oh, I can't take this. I'm in a McDonald's right now. Let me go outside. I would not think that that person is being courteous. I would think that they're organizing some kind of illegal transaction. Like, not of the narcotic variety. I'm talking about like a hitman sort of deal. But the one thing I'll say, the only thing that annoys me about cell phones is that they're so entertaining, and I mean that sincerely, that I do sort of think it's killing the adult ability to sit still and think for like, you know, an hour or an hour and a half. Because, you know, like I went to one of Kate's concerts this weekend. They tend to be, I don't know, maybe two hours long, sometimes a little bit longer. And you're expected to pay attention. You know, you're expected to sit there and whoa, listen to the music all the time. And it's, oh, the music got twisted up here. You know, I'm not necessarily the greatest appreciator of classical music, but, you know, I sit there and I listen politely. I sat next, and this is not a common occurrence, because I think there's like, you know, the kind of people who go to the orchestra tend to be into that sort of thing to begin with. I hope, at least. You know, it's not like they're like, where are the words? I hope. But I sat next this time to like a middle-aged couple. They were in their 40s, for sure. And after like the first 20 minutes, every 5 minutes they were taking like deep breaths and going, and I could hear them like whispering to each other, and they're like, how long is this thing? Like, when is it over? Like, no one's forcing you to be here. You can just leave, Grandpa. And I think, you know, first off, that's just a couple of people behaving badly. But also, like, you know, I think it is a valuable skill to be able to just like sit quietly and enjoy something without having some kind of external stimulus. And, you know, if there's one thing that I worry about, not worry, but that it makes me apprehensive about widespread cell phone usage. It's the inability to, like, you know, stave off boredom with your own tools and instead require, you know, some kind of external stimulus to do it. But on the other hand, you know, it's actually, I would say maybe it's even a good thing, because you're just not that bored that often, because you have the access to, you know, the internet and the sum total of human information, like, at all times. Well, we're good. That was a nice little warm-up run. I had a great time. Mission accomplished. We've unlocked Able. I wish I could go back. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion, to be notified of when I go live in the future. It's all the time. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya.